Solving irrational equations. We're going to employ the fact that we can do something to both sides that will get rid of this radical. If I multiply both sides by root 7 minus x, I would get rid of the radical on this left side. But I wouldn't necessarily get rid of the radical on this right side. But if I think about it, root 7 minus x is the same thing as x minus 5. So couldn't I just multiply this right side by x minus 5? So what that means is what you can do when you have an irrational in an equation is you can square both sides. You just have to do it properly and responsibly. So yes, I can square both sides. I'm going to square this, and please notice my use of parentheses. So the square root of 7 minus x just becomes a 7 minus x. And now I need to make sure I properly FOIL x minus 5 quantity squared. Now I'm going to bring everything to one side and solve this quadratic equation. So I'll subtract 7 and I'll add an x. So now I have to solve this quadratic equation, and so I'm going to do that by factoring. If I couldn't factor, I would use the quadratic formula. And so my two values are x minus 3 and x minus 6. Those multiply together to give me a middle term of negative 9x and a final term of positive 18. So that means x is equal to 3 and x is also equal to 6. Here's the biggest danger about solving irrational equations. Because you squared both sides, you have used a very powerful and therefore dangerous tool. So sometimes in algebra, when you use such power like squaring, which is a power, you might get something called an extraneous solution or an extraneous root. What that means is one of these might not work, and that's why it's so important to check. So let's check 3. We have root 7 minus 3 equals a 3 minus 5. Okay, so the square root of 4 equals negative 2. Okay, hold on. I know the square root of 4 could technically be positive or negative. Like I get that negative 2 times negative 2 equals 4. But here's the thing. When this square root up here, when this was given to you, it was given to you like this, which means it was not given to you like this. The fact that I do not have this plus minus sign means that the square root of 4, it asked me for the positive square root of 4. Whenever a book or a teacher or a problem gives you just the square root of something, it means always do the principal or the positive one. The only time it ever wants the negative one is if it writes it like that, or if it just plain puts the negative in front of it. So 3 actually is not going to work. Now, let's check on 6, just to be sure. So the square root of 7 minus 6, is that the same thing as 6 minus 5? The square root of 1 is 1. Yes, that does work. So the only solution to this problem, even though my factorization gave me a 3 and a 6, the only solution is a 6. Now this is Algebra 2 content, so you will revisit this next